Okay, so it's a 77 flat hood K-Jet V21. Here we go. Start me up, Swedish Daddy. Oh my goodness, there's not even like valve tick. The top end is so quiet. So there's one small bit of brush right here. You see underneath, it's all pretty dry. Give you some of these. These are Mercury Marauder wheels or something like that. I'm taking you out tonight.
Full array, because we can.
You got 359K on this dash. You've got no power steering because it's the early manual rack. And a clutch that needs some work. Are we on cut springs?
Yes, sir, we are.
Okay, how's the radio? Where's the radio?
There's no radio.
Why do we have speakers with no radio?
Good question there, Pumpkin.
Suspension. Overdrive. Fantastic. That's part of the views.
Oh my goodness.
Well, first of all, the inside bows, people should not lay on a 240 roof or stand on it because you have 3 ribs that run across and the rest of it is so thin because this is what we're hearing. And somebody stands or sits on it at one point and it bends the rib down, and now you've got a gap here. Would you push down on it again? Next up on the dealer lot, we got a 2-of-a-kind peachy tan beige cream wagon. This is a 1986? 8?
Yeah.
7. And it's got Virgos on it. Virgo with turbo wheels. Beautiful car. Automatic. Creamy on the outside and even more on the inside. It's like a creme brulee.
Ooh, creme brulee.
Now, she is spick and span inside. There's a exhaust clamp on the radiator hose. First shot. I'll be here for a minute. All right, so here's the other Princess. This is the white one with the, unabused roof. But look how dirty it is and then how nice the other one is as comparison. LH 2.2 and old Peachy Keen there is running 2.4. Easiest way to tell, of course, is that blue box in the corner. Second easiest way is look for a distributor connector right there. So this is gonna use the pickup wheel on the distributor versus the pickup wheel on the flywheel. All right, it's finally time to go pick up the XC90. I'm so glad because the bill came out to about $600 less than I expected it to. Yes, I got gas money to get home. And I wish we had AC, but highway to the danger zone. Oh my goodness. Come on, K-Jet. Oh, she's coming around. There we go. This engine sounds so good, dude. Fantastic. Soren, I've really enjoyed driving this thing. It's such a cool wagon. So we are finally picking her up once and for good, and it's gonna get the B20 engine loaded up this afternoon. So I never finished the thought in the first video, but yeah, Mark, thank you for letting us rescue your wagons. I'm just delighted with this car. And imagine when it shines up, it's gonna be so purty like the old Draggle in there. It's gorgeous, dude. Oh boy, it's toasty. Oh my goodness, so much quieter. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, folks, we're back. We're perky. We're excited. And here's the really, really good news I had mentioned. You recall in the last video that the final price for everything was right over $7,000, and this is the best part here is that it was down to $6,300. They gave me a good discount for the patience that it took to get this thing sorted over the last couple of months. I mean, just look at all of this. That is a receipt. Woo! I am so pleased. Great customer service. It's a mom and pop shop, and it can get really busy, it can get really backed up, but at the end of the day, all's well that ends well. But first things first, car wash. good. So good to have a clean car. They always drive a little bit better when they're washed. Some swirl marks here and there, but this thing hasn't been washed in a long time. Could use a good polish too. Gotta love them. Gotta love them. Yee, there's my buddy. Boy, what a great wagon. The wheels are cool, but they rub a little bit. So if anything, I'd probably go for the Virgo turbo wheels. We're gonna move some cars into the sides and put this car here, and then I'll load up a couple of goodies that I gotta bring back to California with me. The first justification of such an expensive big SUV. Listen to this old clunker. Now that's how you made a transmission.
Why would you steal Cold Fusion? It's free. Why would you do that?
This is a really unusual way to begin my return journey. This little guy's crossing the road. Now that I've got another 500 pounds of stuff in here, the car, that vibration that was happening yesterday at lower speeds, which is like under 2,000 RPM with moderate throttle, it's a little bit worse. If it's from a scale of 1, which is somebody tapping their fingers on the belly pad, to 10, which would be driving with square-shaped tires, I'd say it's right about a 4, sometimes a 5, usually a 3. So I'm suspecting the CV axles in the front. I'm also experiencing a little bit of a shift flare, and I think that that's got something to do with the learning sequence on the transmission. I had to program the basic shift points, and the fuel economy is right about 24, 25 at 70 miles an hour. Let's see what our numbers are for the rest of the day. I'm climbing 9 Mile Hill right now. Sandia Mountain's behind me, and you can see all the other drivers at 9 in the morning are wanting to pass because they don't like that I'm going just a little bit over the speed limit. It's always got to be more. So this engine makes about, what, 315 horsepower, 323 pound-feet of torque. The peak torque on this is 3,900 RPM, but there's an inlet valve that is shut below 3,200 RPM that changes the airflow to the different banks and creates a larger, lower torque curve. So at 2,000 RPM, we are getting 272, or thereabouts, pound-feet of torque. So it ends up being a lot of good usable torque at low ends, which is why I'm not having to work so hard to climb some of these hills. Okay, so it's flat roads right now. We're enjoying 23, 24 mpg. Slight slopes here and there. It's gonna flatten out a little bit for much of Arizona, either side of Flagstaff. Flagstaff will be the mountain, and there will be no snow. To help me pass the time on the road, I have been calculating the time it would take to get home if I were to drive faster and get worse fuel economy, and how that compares with the savings in gas to go slower and easy. Here's the breakdown quickly. At roughly 800 miles, if I go 80 miles an hour, it's 10 hours. If I slow down to 70 miles an hour, I will save a little bit in fuel economy, but it will take an extra hour and a half to get there, or hour and 40 minutes. Since 80 miles an hour gives me 18 miles per gallon on the highway, just about, and 70 miles an hour gives me about 24 miles per gallon, with the savings in time and everything, it's gonna cost an additional $45 to shave off that hour and a half. So, is an hour and a half worth $45 in saving? That comes down to, like, if you were getting paid $26 an hour. So I think the answer is yes. 21.5 miles per gallon. That is 60 miles in the city and 324 miles highway. So not a bad number for the time that I'm making. I don't see any fluid leaks, do you? Okay, I am absolutely a kid in a candy store with all this. And look, some literal ones. Just like how half of the radio stations in California are Spanish music, Spanish speaking, the half of the radio stations in Arizona are all conservative talk radio. And that's fine, but it wouldn't rank high on my list of favorites. However, when it comes to historic vehicle license plates, this copper plate is just the best. Pretty much everything past Flagstaff all the way until you get to the Cajon Pass in California is hot, hot, flat, rocky, rocky desert. Look at this. Our external temperature is reading 105 degrees Fahrenheit. I am so happy to have air conditioning. Well, it just keeps getting hotter and hotter out there, but the car's doing fine. The I-40 entrance to California has the Colorado River. This is the very river that goes down into the Grand Canyon, and I just crossed over the state line. Welcome home. Okay. All right, come on, give it a break now. I've never talked about the inspection stations before, but they are another way where California feels like it's its own country. You just kind of have to check on who you are. I don't think it's as much for vehicle inspections as it is the people inside them. It's 150 miles of this, and then I'm in Barstow. Following Barstow, it's gonna be maybe another 70 or so miles till I'm back home. Well, first I gotta drop off this B20 in the back here. Looking good, still at the top. Everything look okay under here? You tell me. For the last 350 miles, the calculator says 21.2 miles per gallon. The trip computer says 22.4. I know this whole video is just technicality after technicality, but like I'm kind of a numbers geek for stuff, but I've never been a good math surgeon growing up, so I'm happy for the moments where I can feel like I'm doing some good formulating. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. The Cajon Pass. We're at 4260. Let's see where we end up. 66 miles to Los Angeles, and I think about 30 miles to Riverside. Okay, home stretch. We're now on the 5, LA's major artery. Right here, you're looking at Griffith Park, and that spire right there. It's the Hollywood sign right down the other side of that, you know? Oh, good. It's down a little bit from last time. We're now under $7 again. I was remarking in my last video that almost a year to the date, July 3rd of 2021, a friend of a friend of a friend and a friend were driving this car and another car back from Nevada, and the check engine light came up and the transmission codes came up, and they just abandoned it there on the highway. And so Roger and I went out and towed it, and you can watch the video down below. It was a fun little time, but we spent the full day just getting, 8 hours there, 8 hours back, or whatever it was. And the car came right back here to Northridge, so it's kind of exciting that I'm able to bring this full circle and get this car back to Roger's house and let him see sort of the finished product. Well, it's gonna be a 900-mile day. Not bad, I'd say. She's just about fixed. Let's get home already. I got an engine hoist in the back. Everything's all loaded up and ready to go for work on the 164s. Friends, we are home, sweet home. Look at that moon. Nice. Successful drive back. Good night.